fight fans. We're here at the 34th annual IBF convention in St. Petersburg, Florida, and we just happened to have a special guest, former IBF Lightweight champion Philip No Deal Holiday. Philip, we met last year in Beijing, China, and here we are again. So you've made it to another IBF convention. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your career, how it started, how it progressed, and what you're doing now. Obviously, still involved in boxing in a few different facets. So, going back, you turned professional in 1991, but what was your introduction into the sport of boxing?
Just I had a couple of friends that went to a boxing gym. We were all into sport, so we just did anything the school offered, we took part. And one day at school they came back and said, oh, they went to a boxing gym last night. It was the hardest thing they've ever done. And it's the hardest thing I've ever done too. So I just enjoyed sport, and I always liked to challenge, I always liked to be fit as I can for fitness. So I want to join the boxing gym, basically for fitness more than actual boxing. And here I am so many years later.
Did the part where they said it was the hardest thing they ever did have a special attraction for you, because you seem like a guy that loves challenges?
For sure. Like I said, I wanted to improve my fitness for all the other sports. So it was tough, as they were saying, it would help me with my fitness. So that was the main reason I went to improve my fitness. But it was. I mean, it's, if anybody's never tried boxing, you'll understand. It's just another level. Mm-hmm. It's another level.
Now, prior to that, or during that time, had you been aware of South Africa's history in the sport of boxing and some of the champs that they had and looked up to any of those, or were you just involved in so many different sports you didn't know a lot about?
No, I knew. I wasn't big involved at all with boxing. I wasn't very interested in boxing, but I had a couple of uncles that enjoyed boxing. We had a heavyweight fighter, Harry Kutsia. And I think in those days he was like, I think the only real big fighter fighting for world titles. And obviously heavyweight's the creme of boxing. And I mean, we didn't even have TVs those days. It was just the radio. And the family used to gather around and it was quiet, the radio's on, and we all sit. We had quite a nice house. We had this big lounge, and there was this big fire pit built into the lounge. So we had this big fire pit with this big seat around it, and we put the radio on top above the fire pit. We all sat around this fire, listening to him fight. Because I mean, South Africa, obviously there weren't fights in South Africa. Most of it was in the States or in the UK, so the time change was different. So it was always weird hours of the night or something. Sitting around this fire pit, the whole family all excited, listening to the thing. That's about the biggest memory I can have of boxing as in the youth.
So talk a little bit about as you got more involved and it went from just an interesting thing to do with your friends to getting involved as an actual amateur and going through those tournaments and deciding to turn pro.
Well, like I said, I went there for fitness. I was not interested in boxing, and then I'd been training for a while, and I always work hard. And the trainer said to me, "Oh, you're doing real well. Why don't you jump in the ring and have a spot?" Mistake. I climbed in the ring, and this guy bashed me. His name was Kusi. Yeah, Kusi. I mean, that was his name. And he came from a very where our boxing gym was a very poor area, and they actually had it's almost like government housing type of thing where the gym was. Real rough bunch of people, and he was from there. And I climbed in and he bashed me, and I thought, that is, I'm never ever getting in the ring again, sparring again. Anyway, they went to school the next day, and as the day drew on, I was like, no, I'm going back, because all I want to do is I want to hit him. And it took a while before I could actually, but that was my goal. I was going back to get on top of this guy. He was my, can I say, inspiration to keep going. But it was only to beat him, then I was leaving, then I was gone. And obviously I did real well, started having fights, and even that was a bit of a, my trainer do you want to fight? No, 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 no. And eventually he kept nagging, and eventually I said, okay, I'll fight. I don't think I was quite thinking right, because 2 or 3 days before the fight, I was so nervous. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? Are you mad? Just cancel it. And then he said, no, you can't. It's all prearranged. And it's the most frightening thing I think I've ever done, climbing the ring for the first time. And then obviously I won the fight. And then that's the most exciting.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to explain that, because you play soccer, you got teammates that help you. You play rugby, you got teammates that help you. Boxing, you're there by yourself. Literally, you get in the ring and you got nobody to turn to. And I think that's what makes it so pumped. I mean, soccer, rugby, you're trying to win a sport, it can be a little bit rough and tumble, but boxing, you're literally going out there to bash your opponent. It's like gladiator, it's men, man. We want to be men. I think that's another side of it that makes it so exhilarating once you actually win the fight. So you win the fight, you've just been this, and then just the trainer straight away, do you want another fight? Yeah, I want another fight. But then leading up to the next fight, I think, what are you doing? Remember the nerves and the pressure, and I suppose everybody goes through that, because again, you can't explain to people. It's so nerve-wracking, because I mean, who do you turn to? It's not like, if I do a running race, I do a cycle race, a swim race. As soon as I get tired, you just slow down. Boxing match, you slow down, then you just in more trouble. Anyway, so that's how it started. He just said, do you want to fight again? I was like, okay. And then leading up to the next fight, what am I doing? I'm nerve-wracking. And then won South African title 4 times. As you know, we weren't allowed to go to the Olympic Games, so there was really nothing else to actually do in boxing. So it was turn pro or just completely walk away. But then they started talking about us going to the Olympic Games. And we actually had Olympic trials. And I won that. I won the gold medal for that. So it was like exciting, got an opportunity to go to the Olympic Games. But then leading up to it, it didn't happen. So again, it was, well, turn pro or just walk away. Then the amateur guy called Kit McCullough. In fact, he's still there today. So we're talking years ago, and real old guy now. He said to me, stay as amateur. He said, I'm guaranteed the next ones we will go. And we did. But for me, it was too much of a gamble to wait 4 years. So I just turned pro. And I told you earlier in the week that it would have been exciting, because that's the year Oscar de la Hoya won the gold medal in the same weight category that I was in. So
Barcelona.
That would have been exciting. Because again, I would have loved to have fought Oscar in the pros. It just didn't happen. There's so many fighters I wanted to fight, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Didn't work out.
So you turned pro in 91, and within 4 years, you're the IBF world champion. Did it seem like a fast
It was
rise
fast.
to you?
Again, I like to be active. I like to stay fit. I wasn't the type of guy, once I fought, take a week or 2 weeks off and do nothing. I was straight back in the gym training. So I think I remember my first year, I had 8 fights. My second year, I had 7 fights. I really 15 fights in 2 years. That's a lot. I mean, you talk to some guys now, they'd be lucky to get 6 fights in 2 years. And I think that would have helped me get the shot. I mean, is that quick in boxing? So I don't really know. But yeah.
By today's standards, it is.
Dream come true, getting a chance to fight for the world title.
So how did you feel going into that title shot against Miguel Julio? It was a Colombian,
very strong Colombian.
A vaunted puncher.
I was going to sound arrogant, but it was like, it's my destiny. I wasn't losing that fight. There's no ways I was losing that fight. I train hard. I've always trained hard my entire career. With that fight, I trained extremely hard. Well trained. I didn't overtrain, but extremely hard. In fact, we had quite a long training camp, because when initially they spoke about us having the world title fight, there was going to be I think it was a 6-month waiting period before the fight actually happened. So my trainer said to me, we can fight in between, but it is a risk, because if you lose in that time, the chances are you lose your world title shot. So he gave it to me. He said, either wait 6 months or fight. I said, no, I'll wait, because And so basically for the 6 months I trained. So when the fight came, I was so focused, so prepared, so ready. I reckon I could have fought Mike Tyson that night, and he would have lost.
Now, you weren't necessarily known as a big puncher, but you were known as a guy with incredible endurance and fitness, and you did stop him in the late rounds, which is, to me, more a testament to your endurance as opposed to punching power, that you just fought at a pace that he couldn't keep up with.
Yep. Well, that was always my theory in boxing. You can have two great fighters that are really good fighters. Who's going to win their fight? If you had two really equal fighters, who's going to win it? Guy who's got the fitness. The fitness is going to carry him through it. So, and that's what I try and install in my fighters today. Especially when you first start out boxing, skills are learned over time. You don't just get in the gym and suddenly you're a skilled fighter. Every fight you have, every different type of opponent you have, teaches you new skills. So in the beginning of your career, what's carrying you through those fights? What is allowing you to win the fights and keep moving on? Your fitness. Obviously in your gym you're working on skills and sparring and stuff like that, but you really learn in a fight. That's where I felt your most learning opportunities come in a fight. It's pressure, it's nerves, that's where you learn. So while you learn in your career through the fights, fitness is what carries you through and allows you to win.
Now, obviously the fitness helps you offensively to be able to do and keep doing what hopefully your opponent can't do, but how important is fitness in your ability to take punishment? Let's say if you're to be able to be defensive and move and dodge, but if you're absorbing punches, a lot of guys I've seen said I wouldn't have gotten through that onslaught in the third round if I hadn't have been in shape.
Definitely, I think, I mean, obviously, if you're fit, your body's healthy, you've trained hard, so your body's strong, and I definitely think that does. Absolutely. The fitter you are, the more you can absorb. Definitely, I truly believe that. I suppose it's no real fact, but I mean, it is. It's definitely. I mean, to get fit, you got to train hard, and it's mental. But you gotta push yourself. I mean, it's not only just running. It's boxing. It's push-ups. It's sit-ups. It's weights. It's all hard work, and those things is what makes the body tough. So you can absorb.
And knowing that you're physically fit has to help give you a mental edge as well, which is huge.
Exactly.
In boxing.
Well, I learned a pretty interesting thing a while back. I went on a course, a mental thing, and it was about your subconscious and your conscious. So if you say something, now you can think something, but if you actually talk it out, your subconscious believes it better than by just, if I think I'm going to win, but if I actually physically say I'm going to win, and I actually hear it, my subconscious draws it better. Now, I can't remember all the exact numbers, but they said, for example, your subconscious throws back your thoughts every 60 seconds, for example. So if I'm thinking I'm going to lose, every 60 seconds, your subconscious, you're going to lose, you're going to lose, you're going to lose. And that's, you don't really think it, but your subconscious is saying that. So in this course thing, they said, if you have a negative thought, straight away come back with a positive thought, because every 60 seconds you'll have negative thought, but then straight away positive thought. That was just the thing I learned. So, but I mean, I was always I'm going to win, I'm going to win, I'm going to win, I'm going to win. So I don't have the negative thoughts, which is a good thing, but so my subconscious kept throwing back. But how do I become so positive? Is because when I came to the ring, I knew I was ready. I could fight anywhere there now because I was ready. I prepared well. And if you don't train hard, you could tell me you've trained hard, but you can't cheat yourself. Your brain knows you haven't trained hard. You could tell me till you're blue in the face, I've trained hard. But when you come in the ring, you know you haven't trained hard. You can't be confident. You can't. Train hard, tell everybody you're fit. You know yourself you've done the work. And that's how you go in there and you win fights.
Yeah. So as a champion, when you won the title in 1995, obviously the pace has to slow down a little bit from when you were initially a pro, but you did reel off 6 defenses in 2 years, mostly at home in South Africa, but you traveled abroad to Australia to fight one of their legends, Jeff Fennick. What was it like, first of all, traveling quite a great distance, going down to Australia, fighting a guy that was definitely on his home turf, and just fighting abroad, period?
Again, I enjoy traveling overseas. One, it's a new country, you see places, but me personally, I always felt the pressure was off me. If I felt a fight at home, your family are there, friends are there, your crowd's generally supporting you there, I always felt there was more pressure at home than it was away. And again, it's a mental thing. I always used to use the crowd against me. I used to turn it into a positive.
As a motivator.
Thinking, well, I'll beat him, but I'm going to beat all you guys at the same time. As soon as you beat their fighter, they all shut up. It was a mental thing. So you just got to turn it in the right direction. Instead of being, all these guys are starting to get nervous, and well, what can they do anyway? They can't do anything. But you say, come on, big man, let's keep shouting because I'm going to keep you all quiet soon. You just turn around the right way. Say, well, I love to travel. Obviously, Jeff's been a great hero in Australia. It was a big challenge. Even my promoter, I remember me coming up there saying, guys, you've chosen the fight. If it goes sour, you're going to have to blame yourselves. But again, I trained too hard. I always put the effort in there, and I was like, I'd go to fighting. I just can't lose this fight. I've done too much work to get you.
Do you recall anything about the build-up to the fight and meeting him in press conferences? Because he was also a very confident guy. Of course, he was late in his career. It was high in weight for him, but he was always a guy that liked to kind of use the mental edge as well.
I remember very clearly, he was very confident. In fact, it was almost I wouldn't say a bullying type of style, trying to make you nervous, but even like little things. Whenever we go to places or do things, it was always Jeff. I remember even my trainer one stage said, guys, Philip's the champion. You should introduce him first. He should go out first instead of Jeff. And it was always Jeff this and Jeff that. So I think it's sort of, can you say, bullying tactics? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've done too much work. Guys, I mean, you get people that definitely get affected by that. I wasn't that person. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter what you said, doesn't matter what you done. They don't worry me.
And the end of the fight came in kind of an atypical way for you, a very quick and devastating second round knockout. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I expected a tough fight. I mean, obviously I knew Jeff. I'd seen some of his stuff before. He was real tough, a big worker also, so he would have liked us a big work rate. But like I said, I trained real hard for the fight. And I tried to, everybody tells me, what an easy fight was, I said, yeah, it was an easy fight. But if you look at the package, I always look at the fight as a package. So your training is part of the package. If your training is not hard, well then the fight becomes hard. So that's how I look at things. So the training was real hard, which allowed me to have easy fight. But it's not easy. I mean, it's still. I mean, I'll give you a good example. Fight Jeff stopped me round 2. It wasn't a real physical fight because it was only 2 rounds. But the next morning, are you mentally drained? Are you tired? Are you a bit sore? Yes, because it's the whole package, the nerves, the tension leading up to the fight. So after the fight, you still, it's a relief, your body's a bit stiff and sore. I mean, obviously I fought Ivan Robinson, for example, so that was a real tough fight. I was exhausted, but even though it's an easy fight, you're still drained, you're still tired, it drains you. It's a mental game.
Yeah. So after the Fennick fight, you plowed through 3 more defenses, and then was a big fight coming to the States, which a lot of overseas fighters talk about wanting to fight in the States. Yeah. It's a bigger scene, bigger platform, and you fought not De La Hoya, but the Olympic alternate Shane Mosley. Talk about that fight a little bit. Your thoughts going into it, the chance, what it meant to you, And then, of course, how the fight went and how you felt about the decision.
To be honest, I didn't know much about Shane Mosley. I didn't really know much about him. I'll be honest. I think if I had looked up the research, I maybe wouldn't have taken that fight straight away. And I'll tell you why. It's because Pete Telefero was the fight before that and I actually just got married, and I was supposed to fight Pete Telefero, and then I was going to get married the week afterwards, and then go enjoy my honeymoon. Don't know what happened. Something happened. The fight was postponed. I ended up getting married, going on honeymoon, coming back from honeymoon, and fighting 3 or 4 weeks later. So it was really a mess up. I didn't have a very good fight against Pete Telefero. I won the fight, but I got dropped him. It was a real tough fight. I think mentally, if I had another fight and had my normal preparations and had a good win, I maybe would have gone into the Mosley fight better prepared. But I mean, it's what it is. But like I said, I didn't know Mosley much. Tough fight, obviously, great boxer. I mean, if you're going to lose to somebody, let's lose to a superstar like Mosley. Because I mean, you look at his career, he's done fantastic. But a bit disappointed about the fight. I felt. I just told you earlier, I've never watched that fight. It's too. So I haven't really watched the fight. Do I think I won the fight? I think so. I put all the pressure on him. I was attacking him all the time. I was throwing heaps of punches. I know Mosley came out real fast in the first couple of rounds. Obviously, he took the first couple of rounds. And then I felt he got real tired. Didn't throw a lot of punches. I was doing the pressure all the time. I know he was blocking some, but I just felt I had a real big work rate. And in the late rounds, I even picked up the work rate. I was just all over him in the last couple of rounds. So if I initially look back now and think about it, yes, I think I might have won the fight. But obviously, I didn't get the decision.
One judge thought you won it.
Yeah, one judge thought so. He's my friend.
And it was close.
So that was good. I mean, obviously, just being able to say I went the distance with Mosley. I mean, he'd stopped everybody prior to that. But the hard part for me was I put up a good show. Like I said, it was a split decision. I just felt I deserved a rematch. And I think just sort of got chucked out into the street after that.
It didn't happen. But then did you make a conscious decision to leave the lightweight class and move up, because then you were...
Not really. I actually, like I say, nothing happened after the fight. And then I was going to the gym, and there was never talk of fights. So my training became real on and off, and I think I put a bit of weight on. And then I took a stage where I just took, I think, 6 months off. I did nothing. A lot to do with obviously losing, and I'm even saying being depressed. And then obviously got back in a couple of fights, didn't earn real good money, and it was just trying to get something going, and nothing seemed to really happen. And then moved to Australia again, and again money was even worse there than South Africa. And I just eventually thought, just walk away.
So you mentioned Australia again. So at what point? First of all, when did you make the decision to move there? Did you get some thoughts about it when you went down to fight Jeff and looking around? And
we did. I fought Jeff, and we had a great time. People were very friendly to us. And I went there for I think it was 6 weeks before the fight, their training camp. So I got to see quite a bit. That stage was my fiance, who's now my wife, came over with my mother, and then we stayed another month, 6 weeks after the fight. So I got to see a lot. People were very friendly, really liked the place. Not actually thinking we're going to live there, just went back to South Africa. And then obviously knowing about South Africa violence and crime. And then the family all said to me, well, why are you going to move to the States? And I said, well, I like the States, but I felt Australia was a better country to bring my kids up. A lot more family orientated, I felt. Anyway, so Australia was the place we decided to come to. No regrets, very, very happy. Living in Australia, my kids love it. And we live in a beautiful place, Brisbane. Next convention, Brisbane.
That would be great. So you moved to Australia while you were still an active fighter, before you retired?
I had to be, because I came over on a sports visa, and I applied for my residency to be to live in Australia. And I had to be an active fighter. I didn't actually know that. I thought when I came over, I was actually coming over just on a visa, as in to apply to live. But the guy that did my agency stuff for me, he said, no, it's actually a sports visa. I said, well, I didn't end up paying double fees, because once I got my sports visa, that was only for a certain time, and when that expired, I then had to apply for residency in a big waste. But yeah, I came over and really loved the place, and came over, and I had to be an active fighter, so I took, I think, 3 fights. When my visa was actually granted to stay, then I quit.
Yeah. So you had the end of your career inside the ring in sight for a bit. Yeah. And so talk about the mental process of deciding my career in boxing inside the ring is going to be coming to an end, because it was 19 years in the ring as a pro,
yeah,
not counting your amateurs, yeah. And that's a long time.
Tough. We actually spoke about it the other day. I was talking to a couple of the refs and judges there, and they're saying that the hardest thing about a fighter is knowing when to stop. Because you watch all these fighters and they just go on and on, and I think they diminish the actual records they have, and it sort of puts a bit of a sour spot. I mean, anyway, so it came over the thing. I must be honest, a big factor was money. Money was a big factor. Australia, money was really, really, really bad, and I just thought, I'm not doing all this work for nothing. And then I suppose
the purses, when you say money, the purse wasn't. They weren't
shocking.
Good in boxing.
Absolutely disgraceful. I mean, if I was even today, if I was fighting, if I was at a stage in my career thinking to fight, wouldn't do it. Not what they earn there. Not what they earn there. It's absolutely a joke. Anyway, so that was one of the factors. I mean, I was getting on in age. The difficult part for me is I felt real good. Like I told you earlier, I've had no real struggles with injuries and aches and pains. I mean, even today I'm feeling healthy. And so it was almost like I retired
reluctantly?
On their terms,
yeah.
Not on my terms. I just felt I had more in me, and I don't know, I suppose I always felt another world title shot would have been good, but it never happened. So I went through some real difficult times, and then I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I tried different jobs, there, everywhere, just difficult time in my life, to be honest, very difficult time in my life. And then because of the way boxing ended, I just retired. Not a good feeling. Like I retired because I think the money wasn't good. I didn't get a shot at a rematch in the world title. I didn't want anything to do with boxing. I just don't want to look at boxing. Don't want to talk about boxing. I don't want to be involved in boxing. And that must have been about 2 years, I reckon. I'm just floating around, trying different things, what I'm going to do. And then over that time, I sort of got my passion back with boxing and opened up a gym.
Yeah.
So that was the next...
Outside of the passion, did it seem like, well, it's a logical choice. This is what I've done for more than 20 years of my life, so it seems like it's what I know.
Definitely.
It's something I can do.
Definitely. I think a big part of me is, obviously, it's in our blood. It's who we are. Like, I mean, it was a short 2 years, a short time to be sort of away from the thing, but I felt I had a lot to offer. I felt like I had a lot to offer because I'd been there, and I mean, you get world champions. There wasn't many in Australia, and you got all these gyms and guys teaching boxing, and you see some of these guys boxing. It's like, where did you learn your skills from? It wasn't great, and I felt being where I was. Also, the mental side, telling guys, like, how do you tell somebody going into a world title fight, relax, don't be nervous? He's never been there. How does he overcome those things? Where I think I'd been there, I knew what to say to the fighters. Anyway, so it was time to get back in. Got back in the gym and started with a couple of fighters, only amateur fighters, and I had a couple of pros. And again, like I told you, money is just pathetic in Australia. So these guys got to work all day, then come to the gym night time, and none of them could really
put the effort
into it. And just from my background of like being such a hard worker. He was always fighting with these guys. And he's like, come on, guys, you aren't doing the work. And I suppose I could be a bit more understanding that these guys work all day. But I mean, I've always had a theory. If you're not going to do something properly, well, don't do it. Just give 100% or just go somewhere else. And I mean, I understand in working, they've got to pay bills, but when you were in the gym, give me 100%. And if I'm telling you to do something, do it. Don't, oh, I'm too tired today and I'll do it tomorrow. So that was a frustrating part as well. And then it turned out the gym's gone more in the direction of just the general public. But I mean, it pays the bills, and it's. I still enjoy teaching them because I mean, you get. I've had letters from people coming to me saying to me that they hated boxing. They couldn't stand boxing. The only reason why they've done boxing is because they know it's a really good workout from you. And then obviously me teaching them boxing, and we go through skills and how fighters feel and work. And like when you fight someone, you don't just get in the ring and fight. You don't just go and throw punches because the person in front of you. There's a game plan, and obviously depending on the person's style and aggression and his powers, how you fight them. And I explain these things to people, and we do different drills around it. And I mean, letters from people saying it's amazing. They've grown to so much respect now for fighters, seeing what's involved and how much learning there is. It's so far from just getting there and punch. So that's pretty good. I enjoy that a lot. And like I say, so I've moved away really from the fighters, and then obviously I've signed up now to be a ref and a judge in the pros. So I've stopped with pros completely because I just felt I don't want to be a conflict of me actually being a ref and a judge to maybe somebody that could potentially fight one of my fighters or who has fought my fighters and beat them. I don't think I would be biased, but I just thought let's stay away from it. I am still training the amateurs. Difficult about the amateurs is they're so up and down, and like it's. I suppose it's in life. If somebody else can offer you something better, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. And especially in the amateurs, I'll be careful how I word this, but the reward as an amateur is just watching the success of these guys. But as a pro, I suppose part of your reward is watching the success then, but you're also getting paid for it. Where in amateurs, you're not really. I mean, you don't really. You just take these guys and train them, and it's heartbreaking where you put so much time and effort for them, and the next guy just offers him whatever, and he's gone. It's the blink of an eye, they're gone. So it's very.
The loyalty isn't there.
No, loyalty is. I suppose it's gone in everything, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me about the gym. You still have it. What's the name of it?
No Deal Boxing.
Okay. And that was your nickname as well?
That was my nickname.
And what was the meaning behind the nickname, No Deal?
Okay, very interesting question. So I obviously, I had nothing to do with it. I know fighters all have these nicknames, and if I think I'm correct, not everybody has a nickname, but most fighters do. And I had a PR manager who actually was a reporter for a newspaper. And then so he helped me out with sponsorship and promotional things, but he also did all the writing for the newspaper. And then,
back in South Africa?
Yeah, back in South Africa. When I first started, I think I had like 1-2 fights when I met this guy. And then he was writing for me. And then one day I was reading an article and he said, Philip, no deal holiday. So I went to him and said, what's the no deal? He said, no. He obviously had been to the gym and seen me train. He said he was the hardest, I was the hardest trainer that he'd ever seen in his life. He'd been involved in boxing, he always loved boxing, so he'd always seen fighters and been around the fights. He said he'd never seen anybody train as hard as I trained. And he said I was the type of guy who would never ever take a deal. I just would go in there and literally have the confidence and the ability to do my work. He knew I wouldn't take any deals, and that's where he got the no deal from. So Philip, no deal holiday. And it just stuck, and then obviously he kept writing all these articles, no deal, and then started going to the fights where the announcer, Philip, no deal, they obviously must have read it somewhere or something, and that's just how it stuck.
Interesting.
And then, I don't know if you've seen, so back in South Africa, I started up a bit of a clothing line called No Deal Clothing, but all great. Nike, Reebok, they all have a bit of a saying with them. Nike, just do it, things like that. So we're talking about it, saying, No Deal Clothing, I've got to have a logo thing that goes with it. And we'll racking our brain. And my brother came with us. He said, beyond all limits, because you want to be a world champion. That's going beyond most people's limits. So it's no deal, beyond all limits. So that's where the beyond all limits come. And the no deal, I don't even see it's got an X on it.
Okay.
Again, another thing, what we need to have like a bit of a logo thing we can use. And like, what's the most famous brand out there? Nike. Tick. Let's play on a tick. Right. What's the opposite? You get it right or you get it wrong, it's the cross. So we just said no deal. So that's where the no deal, beyond all limits, and the
cross
X came from. All bit of a, so just didn't suck it out of fresh air. It essentially came together.
Some thought behind it.
Yeah, so, and then like I say, I started the gym, and I did initially think no deal was a bit of a weird name for a gym. But, you know, you start out a gym, who's coming? Who's coming to this gym? Who is Philip Holiday? Who's whatever you call the gym? Who's that person? So I thought, well, to get clients in there, you got to play on who you are and work on who you are. So the advertising was all world champion, world champion, world champion. So who was I as world champion? No deal with the X. So my logo is no deal with the X, the no deal gym. And obviously most of my advertising's got something to do with world champion, or train like a world champion, or become a world champion, be trained by a champion. It's where you got to use what you got.
Yeah.
So, and the gym's going great. It's going really, really well. I'm truly blessed that in Australia, got some amazing people that have been in there. I think the gym's been running now for 8 years or something that I've been in the gym. And I think I've got a couple of guys that have been there from day one. So
that's great. And you got all your gear back. You told me last year you had when we were talking in China, there was an incident, and one day all your stuff was gone. And
it's because I was in the gym with another guy, and so I was in the gym with another partner, and then we shared the gym and times, and like I said, the one day he gone, moved out, and took all my bags and stuff with him. So, but I knew where he went to, so I just went to. I was like, "Excuse me, can I get my stuff back, please?" He said, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, you're sorry. Taking all my stuff with you." So,
oops.
So I got a very nice gym, real good setup. It's a boxing gym, so it's just mainly bag and boxing ring and stuff, and it's quite. I enjoy it. I mean, I got my logos on everything, every bag, all the rings, all the pillows, and it's just no deal on it. And I walk in my gym every day, and I think, I love this place. I love what I do. I enjoy working with the people. People come to the door for the first time and think, wow, this is a cool place. It looks like a nice boxing gym. So.
That's great. So you're back in a better place, and the dark moments between the end of your in-ring career and your out-of-ring career are gone, and you feel like you're where you want to be, and you're doing some judging now, and within the last year, you said?
Yeah, so I've gone to judging, refereeing. It's different side of the ropes, let's put it like this.
Mm-hmm. You're refereeing as well?
I'm going to.
You're going to, okay.
I got to judge for a couple of while before I can actually. But definitely, listen, I think that's the exciting part. Now I'm back in the ropes where everyone else is, where the action is. And that's the fun part, I think, of the boxing.
And so, obviously you feel you bring a solid perspective to that, having been inside the ropes as a fighter, and now you're either outside as a judge and hopefully inside as a ref.
Definitely. I just look back at my career. And I see other fighters that when I started out with didn't always get the best decisions, and a wrong decision can just change your path completely. And I just feel when I'm in there and I'm going to be judging or everything, I want to do the best I can, just being fair to those fighters, because a bad decision for me, a bad move for me, can change their life. I mean, I look back now, like I said, I started boxing for fitness. I had a great career as a fighter. I'm now doing, I got a gym, I've been running the gym for the last couple of years. Now I've gone to the other side where I'm doing refereeing, judging. I get to travel the world. I come to these conventions, meet some great people. It's a job. It's just a whole career that my boxing's given me. If I don't become world champion or carry on boxing, where would my life be today? It'd be totally different. So it's just got to be fair to the guys out there. I mean, I tell a lot of refs and judges that I talk to, because sometimes I get the idea that people think world title is more important than a 4-rounder. And I'm saying, no, it's not. Because a guy having his first fight in a 4-rounder, that's his world title. He's not at the stage where he can fight a 12-rounder world title making millions. That's his world title. And the effort that he's put in is just as hard as the 12-rounder for his world title. It's obviously different level because of the time you do, but as a new guy, trust me, 4 rounds is tiring. That's his world title. So you got to be fair and do the best you can for that guy.
Great advice. Philip, before we close, any words you'd like to say to fans who may have remembered you from your glory days, 20 years ago? And
I do want to, most importantly, thank them for the support. We're talking the other day again about some celebrities and sports guys that don't sort of sign autographs and sort of get big heads, because the fans is who makes us celebrities or makes us sports heroes, because without them, we're nothing. So to all those guys that do support the boxing and supporting my career, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I had a fantastic career, and obviously they make my career fantastic. And you go around and sometimes you might stand in the queue signing autographs for an hour or 2 hours, but that's what our job is, because those guys make us famous or make us exciting to watch, or I suppose if they don't come watch us, promoter don't want to pay us any money, because anyway, we are. Thank you very much. I love my career. Ever see me on the street, come say hello to me. I'm happy to have a chat.
All right, Philip, great. It was great watching you 20 years ago, and it's been great catching up with you the past couple of years. Good luck in all your endeavors, and hope to catch up with you again this time next year.
Thank you so much. In Brisbane.